I want to say a few words on the Caroline Flack story because I think it does warrant a lot of debate about the nature of reality TV and media coverage and a number of other things. Now, I want to make a few disclaimers here. I never watched Love Island. I was aware of it. I was aware it was a popular reality TV show. It hasn't been scrapped yet. And I knew of Caroline Flack only, frankly, I only knew about her from the domestic assault allegations. Um, so I really didn't have strong views on the show or her. Um, the reason I didn't have strong views on her is because with those allegations, the alleged victim actually went out of his way to defend her. That may be a case of just like you get female victims of domestic violence kind of have this guilt complex and they blame themselves and they want to defend the abuser. Um, so it may be that aspect that is the case there, where he somehow blamed himself or that could be the factor. It does seem that she had serious mental health problems based on the reports of what the police officers saw when they arrived at the scene and her tendency to self-harm and so on. Some people may say there was an aspect of attention seeking there, but mental health's a very complex subject. I won't deny I feel some sadness over this case. Not like, a fan sadness in that sense, 'cause I really didn't know her. I didn't know much about her personality, but whatever way you look at it, it is sad. It is. I mean, 40's too young to die, and it's, I think, a reminder of the sort of issues that we face in society with mental health problems. And I think that's unquestionably going to be an aspect of it. When someone can take their own life at the age of 40, I would say it's almost certain that there's mental health issues at play because that is not a rational thing to do. So, yeah, I think that's a factor. One thing I've heard is that people shouldn't be quick to blame the media. I sort of agree with that. Because we really don't know what led to this exactly, whether it was pressure from the trial, whether it was pressure from media scrutiny, whether it was something else. We don't really know. And that's one of the sad things about suicide. Often it isn't clear cut as to why someone does something. I will say this, if the alleged victim really genuinely felt that it was blown out of proportion and he wasn't allowed to contact her, that's tragic. Um, However, the other side of this is that regarding that, it's it sort of sent out a message that, well, alleged women abusers shouldn't be above the law either. I mean, when we talk about domestic violence, there's always violent men abusing their female spouses, but this case showed that it can work the other way. So I certainly don't think she should have been above the law if the allegations were initially there or the police acted on their judgment, like they thought something had happened. Whatever the alleged victim said afterwards, the police had to act on what they saw at the time. So I guess that I wouldn't criticize that trial because it sent out the message that women abusers are not above the law. And if she was innocent, then hopefully the court would have found her so. But I think that is an interesting aspect of the case where we have a high-profile woman on trial for domestic violence. Usually the allegations are against men. I mean, for example, the cricketer Jeffrey Boycott, there's been complaints from women's groups that he's getting an honour despite the domestic violence allegations against him. Um, and there's a whole control dynamic with that, and the guilt complex, etc. In terms of the media, again, I think that, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I think the way the tabloids behave sometimes is absolutely despicable. And there is a contradiction here. The same papers that were attacking her a few weeks ago were now jumping over themselves to adulate her. So it's extremes when it comes to the tabloids. They either blindly adulate someone or they mercilessly vilify someone. There's no middle ground. That's what I think so despicable about the tabloids. Um, their entire industry is based on sensationalism, and there is a degree of trial by media there. I mean, what they will do is they'll be careful to say this person, and I'm not just talking about Caroline Flack, I'm talking about other public figures. They will use the word alleged for legal reasons, but then they'll go on to prove. I've actually seen reports like the alleged person, the alleged abuser, the alleged whatever done this, and they'll go on to use language which vilifies the person. So they use the word alleged just to cover themselves, but then they'll go into reporting it in such a way that it really does amount to trial by media. So I do think the tabloids have a lot to answer for. Um, and it doesn't matter how strong or confident someone seems on the surface, that could be having a really, when you're seeing your name trashed every single day in the national papers, that's going to have an impact. And I know the counter argument, people who are in the public eye, they know what they're getting into. They will want the attention when it suits them. I know all those arguments, but in the end of the day, they're still human beings, and that at some point is going to have an effect. So I do feel that the way the tabloids behave is downright disgusting at times, and I think it's legitimate to question that. But that doesn't mean that they alone can be blamed for what's happened. Will be other factors at play, and that brings me to the issue of reality TV. Now, to put this in context, this will now be the fourth suicide connected to a reality TV show on ITV in a year. The fourth. The one on Jeremy Kyle, which led to Jeremy Kyle being scrapped, and now three connected with Love Island. This one, of course, was particularly high profile because she was the presenter. Like I say, I can't comment in detail about Love Island. I didn't watch the show. I believe the format was celebrity couples would get together. I knew nothing about it, to be quite honest. I did know quite a lot about the Jeremy Kyle show because I was fiercely critical of it, still am, and I felt that ITV scrapping that was a good thing, but it shouldn't have come out of a suicide. Whatever the personality of the man involved, and I know that there was allegations against him. What was revealed about the Jeremy Kyle show? My local MP was involved in the parliamentary committee investigating that was just how sloppy it was, just how dishonest it was. Their so-called aftercare was a joke. The over-reliance on lie detector tests, the way guests were deliberately misled. I think it was utterly despicable. I absolutely detested that show. I have nothing but contempt for Jeremy Kyle. And what's particularly despicable about that case was this was a man who'd made his fame and fortune out of exploiting people and berating people on national TV. People tuned into the show because they want to see Jeremy Kyle yell at someone or vilify them, and yet he couldn't even show his face to the parliamentary committee. So I think Kyle is an absolute card. I have no problem saying that because that is the way, for someone who to make his name out of that sort of format, and then he can't even show his face to defend his own show, to get his underlings to do it for him, was pathetic. And I hope that Kyle struggles to find work because I don't think that such a man who made his fortune off the backs of exploitation should be benefiting from it. He's already a rich man, but the point is, it just demonstrates how cynical and nasty these shows really are. And unfortunately, the determining factor with these things is money and ratings, ultimately. I think ITV is getting a name for itself. Will Love Island be scrapped? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about the show, and I can't imagine it's as nasty and mean spirited as the Jeremy Kyle show was. It'd be something to beat that. But this goes across the board. Even if you look at the Gordon Ramsay show, I mean, why do people watch Gordon Ramsay? Is it really because they want to get tips on how to do braised steak or whatever it is? No, they want to see Gordon Ramsay yell in someone's face. It's a very cynical aspect of our society. Just as the ancient Romans had the Colosseum, we have reality TV. And I find it pretty depressing that those sort of shows are as popular as they are. And by the way, I'm including Gordon Ramsay in reality TV because his shows are formatted in a different way from other cooking programs. I'm sure he's a great chef, but I've never had respect for this glamorization of bullying, and that's really what it is. Um, I don't care if he's the world's best chef. That method I will never have respect for, because it goes beyond just trying to motivate people. It's it's really personalizing the abuse. I think it's disgusting to be quite honest. So I would like to see, frankly, kinder TV. Um, I'm not talking about, by all means, let's address controversial issues. Let's have shows that take on controversial subjects. But frankly, I think what all of this shows is that there needs to be more kindness. It's an understated quality. There needs to be more kindness on TV. The whole industry, I mean, this can be extended to the X Factor and Britain's Got Talent. Both those shows, rely on um, just jeering people down. If they're not good enough, the crowd boos them off. And there's always a caveat, oh, they choose to go on of their own accord. I'm sure they do. But there is a culture with this that needs to be explored. And I don't think the argument, oh, well, it's free choice, so that's fine, is good enough. Um, I mean, you can use that to justify almost anything. There is such a thing as exploitation. Um, I mean, for example, with X Factor and Britain's Got Talent, why do they show the contestants who clearly don't have any talent instead of just telling them, okay, you're not good enough, better luck next time? They deliberately let them on to the televised level of the show where they know that the judges are going to vote them off. I just think it's playing games with people's lives, and I think I do find it unfortunate that these shows are so popular. I mean, I understand that not everyone's going to watch intelligent academic documentaries. Fair enough. You need more light-hearted formats, but they have to be done. I mean, look at the 1990s, right? You had entertaining shows that were fun, that were entertaining, but there wasn't that nasty, mean-spirited aspect of it. You didn't have, take for example, something like the Crystal Maze or the Generation Game or even Blind Date. Some of them were borderline reality TV shows, but they weren't. I think this nasty aspect of them is a relatively new phenomenon. Well, last 2 decades, I would say, 21st century, and it's just it. I mean, the talk show format was definitely imported from the United States from probably about the 1980s onwards. But seriously, I just think we need more kindness on television. I'm not saying sanitize the whole thing. I'm not saying wrap everyone in cotton wool, but we just need more kindness. And I genuinely do feel for Caroline Flack's family because, um, you know, whatever her personality may or may not have been, she's still only 40 years old, and for her family to go through this in the public eye, it must be very hard.